If your cleaner quit right now, what would happen to your business this weekend? Would everything keep running, or would you be the one showing up with a mop at 10 o'clock at night trying to turn a unit before check-in the next day? Because here's the truth nobody talks about in the short-term rental industry. A lot of hosts say they own a business, but what they actually own is a very stressful job that depends entirely on them. The moment one vendor disappears, the whole thing wobbles. I see this constantly with smart and capable hosts. They've got great properties, great reviews, and strong revenue. But behind the scenes, they're still the person filling every gap when something goes sideways. Not because they want to be, but because they never built the infrastructure that would make them optional. That changes today. I'm Stacy St. John, and in this video, I'm walking you through 6 vendor roles every serious short-term rental host needs on their dream team. Not just to survive a busy season, but to build a business that keeps running whether or not you're available. And stay with me, because role number 3 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's quietly consuming more of your time than you probably realize. Before we get into the 6 roles, we need to talk about something most hosts skip entirely: identity. Because there are really 2 ways to build a short-term rental business. The first way is reactive. You hire people when you're desperate or when you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you hire someone when something breaks or when someone on your team quits. You're already in crisis mode and you just need someone, anyone, to help. So you start texting people from Facebook groups, hoping someone shows up. That, my friend, is not a team. That is survival mode. The second way looks very different. You build intentionally. You hire before the crisis. You create infrastructure before you actually need it. And the difference between those 2 approaches is massive. The first creates dependency. The second creates scale. Here's what I see constantly: hosts managing 2, 3, maybe 4 properties who are completely exhausted. Not because the business is too big, but because the business was never built to run without them. Every vendor relationship is reactive, 1 person deep. No backup, no system. Just a contact in their phone and a prayer that person shows up. That is not a vendor strategy, my friend. That is managed chaos. Today, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like to build a vendor infrastructure. Because if your goal is to scale, if your goal is to operate like a CEO of a business, instead of someone who owns a very stressful second job, this is the foundation that makes everything else possible. Let's start with role number 1, your cleaner. I know you already have one. Stay with me for a second though. Most hosts have a cleaner. Scaling hosts have a cleaner system. And those are not the same thing. Your cleaner is not just the person wiping down the counters and changing the sheets. Your cleaner is the first line of defense for your reviews, your ranking, and ultimately your revenue. A missed clean doesn't cost you $50. It costs you trust. And once trust breaks with a guest, the algorithm notices. A 1-star review doesn't just hurt your feelings, it impacts your click-through rate, your booking conversion, where your listing ranks, and how often guests choose you over the competition. Your cleaner isn't a housekeeper. Your cleaner system is revenue protection. The mistake I see constantly is this: 1 cleaner, 1 person, no redundancy. Your cleaner gets sick or she overbooks, there's a family emergency, and suddenly you are in full crisis mode trying to figure out how a property is getting turned over before a 3 o'clock check-in. I've seen hosts lose their Superhost status over exactly this situation. The standard I teach is simple: 2 trained cleaners minimum. Both of them know your standards. Both of them understand your checklist. Both can execute a full turnover without you on the phone walking them through it. Redundancy is not paranoia, it's infrastructure. And one more thing here, your cleaner should feel like a valued partner, not just someone you text when your property needs turned over. Do you know their goals for their business? Do you pay them on time every single time? Do you give them feedback so they can grow and improve? Because when your cleaner is invested in your success, they show up very differently. Role number 2 is the inspector. And this is where I lose people immediately. I hear this all the time. Stacy, my cleaner does a great job. I don't need a separate inspector. But let me ask you something. When you check into a hotel, do you think the same person who cleaned the room is the only one responsible for quality control? Of course not. There's a system at a hotel. Cleaners are optimized for speed. Inspectors are optimized for quality. Those are 2 completely different jobs. An inspector verifies the cleaner's work. They complete their own inspection checklist. They document the property with photos. They catch the details that slip through when someone is racing the clock to finish a turnover. Your inspector becomes your quality gate before a guest ever walks through the door. Tools like Breezeway or even a simple Google form can work for this. The technology matters less than the system itself. And when you separate cleaning from inspection, something very powerful happens. You stop running your business emotionally and start running it structurally. You create accountability without micromanagement. And if you're taking notes right now, I put all 6 of these roles plus their responsibilities into a free guide. You can grab it using the first link in the description below the video. All right, let's keep going. Role number 3 is the runner. This is the most underrated role on the entire list, and it's probably costing you more time than you realize. The runner handles small logistical fires. Maybe they're missing towels. Maybe batteries need to be put in your lock keypad. Maybe a guest needs an extra blanket. Maybe the supplies ran out mid-stay. Individually, these problems seem minor until you're the one handling every single one. Let's do the math most hosts never stop to calculate. If you do 3 runner tasks per week and each one takes about 45 minutes, that's 175 hours per year and 175 hours on $20 problems. Imagine what you could build with that time. Another property, stronger systems, more marketing, or better guest experiences. Instead, you're driving across town with batteries or light bulbs. Here's the identity shift I want you to sit with. Every time you become the runner, you're choosing to be an operator instead of an owner, even when it doesn't feel like a choice. And your runner certainly doesn't need to be a full-time hire. It could be a local assistant, a trusted neighbor, or someone just paid per task. And when a person isn't available, services like Instacart, DoorDash, or even Walmart Plus can solve the problem in under an hour. The point isn't who handles the task. The point is that it stops being you. Role number 4 is your handyman. Maybe you have a loose cabinet knob or a leaky faucet, or you've got an HVAC concern the night before a holiday weekend. These situations reveal exactly how prepared or unprepared your operation actually is. Most hosts wait until something breaks to find someone for a fix. But if you wait until something breaks badly to look for help, you're negotiating from desperation. Heck, you'll pay whatever someone asks because you don't have time or leverage. Professional hosts don't wait for problems. They design for them. Build relationships with maintenance people before you actually need them. Vet the people when there's no emergency. Understand their rates, their average response time, and their availability. And of course, build redundancy here too. Have a primary maintenance person as well as a few backups. Because let's face it, a great handyman who's booked 2 weeks out does not help you when a guest checks in tomorrow morning. Role number 5 is a professional photographer. This one surprises people because it doesn't feel like an operational role. But photography is not a cosmetic decision. it's a pricing strategy. Your listing competes visually before anyone reads a single word. Guests are scrolling through dozens of listings in seconds, and the first image determines whether they click or keep scrolling. Better photos increase click-through rate, booking conversion, and yes, it can even increase your average nightly rate because perceived value is real value. A $500 photography refresh that increases your nightly rate by $20 a night pays for itself in 25 nights. After that, it's pure leverage. If you haven't refreshed your photos in 12 to 18 months, there's a strong chance you're under-earning on that property. Your property is an asset. Treat its presentation accordingly. Rule number 6 is your accountant or bookkeeper. This is the role that separates hosts from business owners. If you don't know your numbers, if you don't understand your real margins, you're just guessing. And guessing, my friend, is not a business strategy. In fact, it's financial roulette. A good bookkeeper tracks expenses by property. They help you monitor vendor costs, and they help you identify patterns in your business. A good accountant protects you from tax mistakes and missed deductions as well. And guess what? Revenue means nothing without profit margin. And the moment you start making decisions based on clear financial data, everything changes. Let's bring this all together with the one principle underneath every role we just talked about: redundancy. Single vendors create single points of failure. For every critical role, cleaner, inspector, runner, handyman, you should have at least 2 contacts, a primary and a backup. Not because you're pessimistic or not because you're worried something is going to go wrong, but because you're strategic. Life happens, vendors move, emergencies happen, people take vacations. If one person leaving your vendor team creates a crisis in your business, you don't have a business. You have dependency. The hosts who scale without doubling their stress build redundancy in their teams before they actually need it. That is operational maturity. I want to tell you about Maria. She's a member of my Accelerator and my Achievers Club, and genuinely one of the most capable people I have ever worked with in this space. When I met her, she was already doing everything: running a portfolio, managing midterm rentals, teaching others, handling bookkeeping. And guess what? She was still driving to her properties to bring in the garbage cans. The garbage cans were never the real issue. The issue was capacity. Once she built her vendor bench and stopped filling every gap herself, something incredible happened. She had room to grow. She expanded her investments, she built new businesses, and she's bought and sold companies because she finally had the space to think like an owner, and the garbage cans got handled. But more importantly, the things she actually wanted to build finally had the room to exist. Here's what I want to leave you with. The 6 roles we covered today: cleaner, inspector, runner, handyman, photographer, and accountant. They are not extras. They are the operating system of a scalable short-term rental business. And let me tell you, my friend, you do not have to build them overnight, but you do have to build them intentionally, because growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop doing everything yourself and start building a team that makes excellence automatic. If you want the full breakdown of these 6 roles, including responsibilities and when to hire, I created a free guide for you. It's called the 6 vendor roles every STR host needs on their dream team. Click the first link in the description below and download it. And if this video helps shift how you think about your business, drop Dream Team in the comments. I read every one of them. I'll see you in the next video.